Music of Babsi Mlangeni, who you just saw before the break here on Morning Live during our special broadcast that is discussing the issue of 90% local music. And we'd like to turn our attention just for a few minutes to what people are saying on Twitter, because that is really what we want to hear from. We want to hear from the public. We want to hear from you. How do you feel about this? So let's read a couple of the comments. Here's one from Me and My Crazy World. That's what your Twitter handle says. Why do these opposition parties not congratulate Hlaudi Motsoeneng and the SABC for the milestone? All right, good question. Hlaudi, have you heard from any of the opposition parties? Have they given you a big thumbs up, or have they said anything or nothing at all? Here's Toro Deep saying, can all radio stations please have digital submissions? All right, there's a suggestion. Perhaps we can address that one as well. Here's another one. And I mean, I think we may have spoken about it, but I'm not sure if we've spoken about it on this platform. What happened on Sunday, particularly on Metro FM, there was a huge outcry from a lot of people saying, we're not enjoying this. Please bring back those soul sessions that we need. This is one coming from Mogale saying, what will happen to Sunday soul sessions on radios like Metro and Ligwala Gwala? Well, I think they're also going to have the 90% local. Mutlatsi writing in and saying he's very proud of what's being played. Pelo being played on Metro FM is great, makes him proud. Another one, as a young DJ and producer, I would love to see this 90% make changes to all young artists, DJs and producers. And then finally, here's one last one. ANC voter in Johannesburg, we thank Hlaudi for bringing us home after a long exile in America. Take us out of the bold and days home in sweet. I like that. All right, there you go. Hlaudi, thanks for bringing us home. That's what some of the viewers are saying out there. So let's go back to our TNA. Babsi, we're coming to you with your music.
There you go, the legendary Babsi Mlangeni. We heard from him a little bit earlier on, and enjoying his music, and we'll see, I guess, more and more of those kinds of videos on SABC TV channels and certainly on our radio stations. But just before the break, we did get a few questions that came through. Keith Tabo was concerned about the studios that new black entrepreneurs have. Are they going to be used more? And also the revenue model. Because we also got a hint earlier that advertisers may be resistant to this kind of thing and not support you. Outside forces, I think he described them as. Your thoughts?
When it comes to advertisers, they don't have a choice if they stay in South Africa. Because they do business in South Africa, they must invest in our own people. When we took this decision of 90%, we were aware about the risk. But it is a good risk for the organization. It is a good risk for our own people. We must change the mentality within people here in South Africa that they must invest in our own people. When are we going to be proud about our own people? This is the time for us. But maybe also coming to the issue of, Don was saying his favorite station. My favorite station, since we played this 90 minutes, is RSG. Music unites all of us. Even if you can't speak the language, I listened to RSG. I was happy. So what we are saying in short is, all music, African music, should play in all our platforms, including television and radio. Because if you ask our own young people, you ask about our own artists here, they don't know them. They don't know this other international artists. Now we are radically forcing people to say this is South Africa.
All right, but we do have a large Indian community in this country, and Lotus FM is their radio station. We don't have enough local artists to fill that station with Indian music. What are we going to do there?
No, you see, it is easy. This is the right time for those people to emerge and produce such music.
And then there was the other question about utilizing local studios, other local studios. Bredon?
I'd like to add on the advertisers. Yeah. The advertisers, I think when they come to Mr. Motsoeneng, they don't ask, do you have Beyonce on radio or not? They follow the audience. So the question of advertisers leaving, I think let's give it a chance. They will follow where the audience is. And when this audience has been developed fully, and the audience like what they're hearing, the advertisers will run to where the audience is. That's where they'll put their money.
All right. But the other side of this coin is that we have choice now in terms of radio stations. Are we not worried that they will tune out of SABC radio stations and go to private stations that are continuing to play Beyonce?
Maybe people who are loyal and people who want to build South Africa, they will stay with SABC. And we're not in competition with these other commercial broadcasters. We have a mandate to fulfill. We are fulfilling that mandate.
I was on some radio station yesterday who are now doing it. It's a private radio station who a month ago were resisting. And yesterday they called me and showed me that they're going 75% also. So the tide, they cannot swim against the tide. And I'm glad that SABC with the 18 radio stations resulting in about over 35 million listenership, they know they cannot compete. So they're all changing the 3 radio stations, one in Cape Town, one in Northwest, one in Gauteng. They're all increasing their quota.
All right, and this is all very well. I'm going to ask you two to comment as well, but maybe Bridgete, look, you know, 20 years ago, when the only place we could listen to music was radio, this might have been an easy equation to do. But now we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook, we've got so many different platforms. People, what they want, they want. And whether you try and put a block to them, they'll go to another place to listen to it. Is that not what might happen, Bridgete?
I think it will. I think people are going to listen to what they want to listen to. But I think it's how we sell it out to South Africans and how proudly South African we are. I mean, Concert SA, for example, has a brilliant circuit where they support promoters, venues, young artists, and they've got a national circuit where already people can go to venues and have been able to do for the past few years to listen to local music. And it's a choice. It's a choice to pull money out of your pocket to go and to pay to go and listen to local artists. I think that's important. I think people will go to YouTube. They will go and listen to other platforms to hear the music. But I think if we look at it in a way that we cross-pollinate, I think that's also very important for me, that we don't silo the stations and that there's cross-pollination of music so that we're all exposed to the different music and we're exposed to different genres. I think it's going to make us a richer nation and richer listeners.
Okay. Tony, if you could add to that, and also bear in mind, one of my sad things is when I go to theatre, I don't see audiences there. They're not there. So why are we so sure that we're going to support the South African artists just because they're on radio, when we have these theatres and we're not supporting them?
I think it depends where these kind of institutions are placed and in which hands these institutions are placed. To have someone like Ndoro Motsoeneng to give out such quota and lead it, if we can have it in other institutions within the creative and cultural industries, maybe we might say something different. Because I do not understand why we are negotiating who we are. We are South Africans. South Africans want to hear South African music, believe it or not. We should actually be celebrating. We should not be discussing and trying to justify why 90% South African music. what we should be doing now should be celebrating. We should be dragging Motsoeneng through the streets of every province and saying, here is a hero. And spark that compatriotism within our South African people and say, this is who we are, and let us celebrate and enjoy us being South Africans.
Okay, all right. Let's go to the floor again. Here's somebody that I was young with, together with, Tshepo Nzimande. Stand up. And we are both big men together now as well.
Yeah, Peter, we are vintage. Datem Hlaudi ra leboga. Nna ke batla go leboga ka Sotho. Ntwa e re lwanne. Before 94, you like ke bohloko because Swakhembulayo, Chigo Twalayo. But I know they are watching. Well, my question is on television side. We are in the creative industry. The issue of owning content. And the issue if I bring a sponsor on a television program that I'm producing or I'm owning and bringing to SABC, what is the ownership in terms of the sponsorship? How do I make money as a producer? And if my program is being played on repeat as the production house that owned the content, what are my royalties? Thank you.
Okay, and then a quick comment, also a question from Eugene Mtetwa, who's a music guru as well.
Thank you to all. I think my questions have been answered. You would note that.
Yeah.
But what I want us to look at, and let me congratulate you. I withdraw all the statements I said before. Now that you are friends. It shows that when you do good, I will congratulate you. When you do wrong, I will tell you. I'm just that person. There is an issue here. We are sitting here, we're talking about 90%. But this 90% might not translate to money into my pocket. Because what? The ownership, the rights that he's talking about. We have contracts that are still saying those that signed that rights away, they will start re-owning those rights 50 years after they've died. We need to sort out that, because we are in a politically correct country that should say those contracts, we signed them as Africans. We did not understand the content that was there. We were desperate. We didn't have the Hlaudis of today. So we need to then declare and pronounce those null and void. And two, Mr. Hlaudi, ke kopa we tshware tšhelete e ya needle time. Don't distribute it first until the music industry has agreed on the issues that we need to agree on. Because that money might go back to those who've been richly embraced by the content. We need to say, again, we need to say, no, we need to agree first. We don't want Hlaudi to pay the money and it goes to the wrong hands. Because there are also the issue of accountability that you need to deal with, to say those that have been paying artists through, they must account and show me what they have been doing previously. Have they been doing that correctly? So that when you put this money, you know that those people will pay the actual artist. The third thing is that I am kneeling down, and I'm going to kneel down deliberately. I'm going to kneel down. We have the Babsim Langenis, whose music was played long before 2006. If you start paying the royalties, the needle time from 2006, even Trompis will not get that money. It is only the artists that started recording music and the music that was played post 2006. But most of the local content was played before that. From 1994, we came with Kwaito, and by 2006, it had slowed down. So it means I might not reach out of that 90%. Okay, so the needle time, sorry. So I am requesting, in view of the 3% that we are the second lowest in the world, can you then compromise and say 50% of whatever that you are going to pay for development purpose, you are going to pay directly to the local artists, especially the Babsi Mlangeni, so that they see freedom in their lifetime before he leaves. That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to take another quick break, and then when we come back, we'll get the answers to those very passionate questions that have come from the floor from some of our iconic musical figures. Stay with us for that.